Greetings, community. It's Kevin of Entropy and Comics, and I'm here to bring you another edition of Kevin's most anticipated reads tomorrow for New Comic Book Day, 3/27, 2024. And here we go for some more. We have books coming in tomorrow that I've been anticipating for quite some time. One book in particular has been nearly 3 months. Before I get ahead of myself, though, I do want to acknowledge and thank those in which that are hanging out with me on the live. Las Cruces and Christina. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Christina, thanks for dancing. And yeah, hey, those in which that catch me on the rewind, those in which that hit the like, subscribe, and have been here with me since the beginning, and or is it new subscribers and which that are just coming in now. Thank you very much. Seriously, I greatly appreciate you. This is a show in which that I give my most anticipated reads. It's essentially nothing more. It's just books that I've been looking forward to for either, I don't know, a day, a week, a month, or even longer. And in the case of the situation that we're talking about now, well, some of these books I've been anticipating for quite some time. And to start it off, let's go ahead and start over at the DC realm. DC is going to give us a book that, well, I stumbled upon about 3 weeks ago. And then I was reading a little bit into it. And then I just kind of fell in love with the idea. The book is called Primer, issue number 1. I haven't really looked too deeply into see. I think it's a 4, maybe 5 issue mini. The story is an all age style story. It's a story of Abby Rayburn. She's a foster kid. And finally, after some tough breaks, she is seen and I believe looking to be adopted by a really loving family. This story is seems like a lot of heart. There seems like some strife. The kid likes to do a little bit of spray painting, and that's why the name Primer comes to surface. Is this is definitely a spray painting story. It really struck me in the heart as I was getting into it. I checked out some of the art. The art really is in my opinion, very entertaining and very kid friendly. It's not, there's not a lot about it in the sense that it's demanding you to be hypercritical about the story. It's just something that the whole time you can tell is really a story of the heart. And I'm really looking forward to getting into this. The shop already knows I want the whole mini. As soon as I found out enough about what the story was about, and I instantly fell in love. So again, DC Primer issue number 1 coming out 3/27, 2023. Hey, Mark, appreciate you, Ian. Thank you for cruising on in. All right, moving out from the DC realm. Seriously, that's all I got is one book. We're going to cruise over to Marvelville. Marvel's going to give us a few books here. We're going to start it off with Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 46. We're getting more Electro. I've been liking it. It's been rather, I don't know, electrifying. The story's been pretty good, and it's more of aftermath of what's been transpiring from the gang war thing, and we're still playing with Electro. That's kind of where we're at. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. That's why again, it's been a steady read, and I've been digging it. So I've been liking the past few issues. Just got through them, so I'm anticipating issue number 46. Finally, been catching up. All right, moving on from Amazing Spider-Man issue number 46, we're going to talk about Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 2. Now, as I made mention, the Spider-Verse stuff, Edge of Spider-Verse in particular, this is becoming essentially an annual thing, and I like it. The new stories, which is the 2 main ones that I've been noticing, start off with one is Spider-Man, robotic arm. We get a Spider-Man that we haven't seen in a while. It's cool. It's, the one I really want to talk about is Gloomy Miller. This is a story about a kid I think he's either getting into high school or something like that. This story is rather interesting. And his teachers are all villainous and out to get him. It seemed like it's another Venom story told in a totally different way. I'm really looking into this one only not just because of the story, which seems cool and it involves a kid and all that, and it seems interesting enough in and of itself. The art really caught my eye, and I'm really looking into that because it almost had a, I don't know, it gave me some serious Nightmare Before Christmas vibes. You know, I mean, a whole, I don't know, like a combination of Clive Barker and I don't know. It was really, I like the art. The art looked cool. I was flipping through it going, this is really cool. I can't wait to get into this. So that was some time ago, and I'm really looking to really read this book. Of the Edge of Spider Verses, this one, the first one was really good, and I just got another book from it. One of per stores. This one looks just as fun. So I'm enjoying the Edge of Spider-Verse stories, and I'm fine if they're going to keep doing this annually. So issue number 2 comes out tomorrow, 3/27, 2024. Cruising out from that, we're going to talk about Incredible Hulk issue number 10. There's a lot going on. We're getting stuff still with the eldest that's influencing everything that's been transpiring throughout this whole nightmarish realm that Hulk's been going through. And what I mean by that, he still has to do. He's now dealing with Frozen Charlotte. Also, God, where am I at? Dog's cruising in. Sorry, I was like, what is going on? And the Ghost Detective. Sorry, I lost my whole train of thought. So there, like I said, there's a lot going on. Banner, Hulk, everything's it's getting thick and it's still horrific, and I'm digging it all the way around. So that's why issue number 10 from Incredible Hulk is really high in my most anticipated read. I really apologize, but that's why we do this live. Seriously. Yeah, Spooky Man. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. Exactly. That's what's ended up transpiring in that story of Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 2. Moving on from there, we're going to talk about, well, one book that I've been looking for quite some time, and that we're going to talk about Jackpot and Black Cat issue number 1. There was a one shot that came out a little bit ago, and I got to meet Celeste Brothman. Spoke to her about not only that book, but how it's leading into this mini coming out now. I was totally looking forward to this book coming out for quite some time. Along with, it seemed like she was just as anxious to get the story out, and she couldn't talk much about it for obvious reasons because of the fact that it was so long down the road. I can't wait to get my hands on this book. I'm really interested to see, one, the development of this character with Jackpot, and two, the fact that she's now the standalone character. She succeeded away from just being defined by Spider-Man, Peter Parker, his girlfriend. I'm really digging how this character is developing in her own right. So that's why I'm looking to see how the future of this character develops. I like Jackpot, and I totally dig Mary Jane. And the fact that we get Black Cat teaming up with Mary Jane in this new persona, I mean, I'll take it any way I can get it. But the fact that we get now her being able to do her own thing, she's her own, superhero per se, augmented through science and a little bit of magic, seemingly. I'm digging it. I really am. I can't be thrilled enough. It almost made one of my anticipated read, but unfortunately, I got beat out by something that I've been looking forward to a little bit longer. Moving out from Jackpot and Black Cat, issue number 1 coming out tomorrow on 3/27/2024. We're going to talk about Miles Morales, issue number 18. This is a 300th issue as far as when we talk about legacy. And in and of itself, it's a thicker issue. It's more expensive, definitely. But other than that, it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot other than there's more rabble rumbling, fighting, duking it out. That's essentially it. Rabble's got issues, and the fact that we keep seeing how deeply seated these things are, I think is really setting up for something down the road. I'm interested not only in reading this book, but what transpires out of this book. This is something that's been going on for quite some time, and obviously something's developing larger than I think is what's just going to happen out of issue 18. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that, and let's see what happens. Yo, to God, appreciate you being here, buddy. Along with you, hey, I appreciate you, legend. Hope you're doing well. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about, well, Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 3. What we're getting out of this is a team up. The team up is with Pete, and now the Green Goblin. Who they're going to fight? I'm not going to just spoil that mystery yet. It's a villain in which that I don't think it's too big of a mystery. At the same point, it's a new one for say in this Ultimate Universe only. It's really cool on how this story. I just read issue number 2 yesterday, so it's really cool how these stories are really developing. When you abandon the idea of how you already know your traditional Spider-Man stories to be, and you go ahead and go along for the ride, and essentially believing that you know nothing about these characters, it's fun. It's original. It's different, and it's even if you do know something about it, it's still refreshing that you're getting a Spider-Man story told in a different way. I'm all for it again, but I've made mention of so many different stories in which that seem like either rehashing or doing something just a slight tweaking of something pre-existing. Well, that's not the case in this, in my opinion, story when we get Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 3. I personally have been digging the first 2 issues more than just the hype that most people have been pushing this book in value, but the story in itself is really valuable. In my opinion, it's one that will stick with you in memory, which is quite difficult when you're reading as many books as I am. I've really been enjoying the story. So that's why issue number 3 is pretty high for me. Moving out from Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 3, we're going to talk about Superior Spider-Man, issue number 5. I know. I like Spidey. I'm digging it. A lot of the stories have been rather good, too. So, I mean, don't shoot me. And just because I've been digging these stories, just try to embrace the fact that you're going to get Spidey to death. So Superior Spider-Man has been rather cool, and what we're getting is a different character. Supernova needs to be shut down, and it seems like the team up between Octavius and Pete getting together, even reluctantly so, is the only way this is going to happen. And that's what we've been fighting seemingly for the past 4 issues. Is one's just always trying to take over the other one is unwillingly doing what he thinks is best, and that's where we're at with issue number 5. They got to shut Supernova down. Moving out from the Marvel place, we're going to cruise over to the Image land. Image is giving this Philadelphia, issue number 34. This is where Savage Dragon is going to go ahead and really impose some of his will. What's going to transpire out of this? I really don't know. There's been so much going on in this thing. And I just realized that we almost got 3 years deep into the story. Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander are doing such a marvelous job with the story that I sometimes even forget that I'm not reading something that is almost historical in nature. I have to go ahead and remember this is just a book. Sometimes we get caught up in movies and when they are based on like real life situations, and we actually start quoting it as if it really transpired. I get lost in that place sometimes reading this book, and it really, I guess, is a testament of how well this is not only written, but how well the actual art is done. The way the story is told is just fascinating, and I can't get enough. Why? Well, I'm a slight history fanatic, but at the same point, the way it twists and turns and it interweaves into things that we already know as far as our geekdom is concerned, talking about Spawn, talking about Savage Dragon, talking about some of the characters that we see are integrated into the storytelling that Rodney's doing, makes it all that much more better. So that's why issue number 34 of Philadelphia is pretty high for me. Moving up from Philadelphia, we're going to talk about Duke issue number 4. Hey, we only got this one, penultimate, and we got one more after it. That's going to end this Duke series. And what we're getting out of Duke is this whole story was just how much I think that he's reluctantly going to end up joining the G.I. Joe clan and just further developing the understanding in its own right what we know about these robots and alien race Transformers. That's essentially what we're getting right now with Duke. He's just learning more about this alien race that shot his buddy out of the sky and just went. And that's where we're getting at with what he's doing is he's trying to make everybody understand what little he knows. And now that people, I think, are starting to get there with him, starting to freak everybody out. That's why Duke issue number 4 is up there for me. This story is awesome. Give me more. Duke, Cobra Commander, the whole void, right? All this. I can't get enough. So I'm just going to keep reading it. It's going to keep being up there on my most anticipated reads. Moving out from that, Duke issue number 4, we're going to talk about kind of a double header. Why? Started off with Local Man, Bad Girls, issue number one shot. Now, this is a story by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks that is just, now the one shot in itself is a standalone somewhat, but the whole story of what we get with Local Man is really cool. The touching of the stylings of the 90s that obviously influenced some of the writing and art of the story, along with formatting and obvious homages and certain like scenes. This is such a cool story that it takes me back when Image was first developed, along with it's a standalone story that if you never knew how Image first started out, you wouldn't give a snikes. It's a story that's really cool, really enjoyable, and at times very tongue-in-cheek, but at times it hits home and there is little philosophical aspects that it doesn't matter who and what you are, it means something, and it's just cool. Seeley and Fleeks are doing an awesome job in this, and I've been trying to get away from this book along with a few others, and I just can't. It's written that well, it's told that well, and it's just that awesome. So that's why Local Man, even if it's a one shot, Bad Girls issue number one shot is way up there on my most anticipated reads. However, what we're here for, as you guess it, our Blue Light special, and that would be, well, another Tony Fleeks book. Tony Fleeks' book, along with Tone Rodriguez and Tris Forstner, has done it again. That gang has teamed up to be able to deliver us another book in which I think everyone's been anticipating for quite some time, and that is Feral, issue number 1. This is a story where Aristocats meets Walking Dead, and it's a story of 3 cats indoor that get lost outdoors while, it's, from what I gather, we're on a little journey inside of a truck, and it overturned because of some feral animals got in the way. The truck swerves, cats get thrown out of the vehicle. The next thing we know, they're in the midst, in the center of an epidemic, a rabid epidemic, and it's all they can do is to try to survive this issue and the next 4. Yeah, it seemed to me that they couldn't really go any farther with Stray Dogs, and what they did is take something formatted wise similar and give us the next level up. This book is rad. And it just shows us how talented this team is, and how I think many of us really didn't want a great story to end, even though we all had to admit that was it. Feral gives us something that's fresh and new and something familiar all wrapped in together. It's kind of like a burrito that you never had from a particular restaurant, but it's a burrito. I mean, come on. As long as they just don't jack it up, we all know we're good, right? And that's what we're getting, is we're getting something rather familiar, but something a little bit different and something fresh and something new. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to sinking my teeth into this new burrito. Feral is something a little bit different and something that, again, as I made mention, very familiar. And as I already got to catch a glimpse in my Little Ash Can edition, wow. I mean, yeah, this is everything I was hoping it would be, and maybe that much more. And that's really it for me, Entropy. And for everyone that catches me on the rewind, and those that wish, or those that, I'm sorry, and those that hung out with me while I was going through my list, I appreciate all of you. And as I made mention, that's it for me. Entropy. You stay well.